I'm going to go over the Hardy poem that we looked at before, and I'm going to look at another poem by Hopkins. So Hardy's voice begins with this, "Woman much missed, how you called to me, saying that now you are not as you were, when you had changed from the one who was all to me, but as at first, when our day was fair." And that's the first stanza. And we get alliteration, which is using the same letters, repeating the same sounds. Woman much missed, okay, woman much missed. We shouldn't get into the mistake of thinking that, for example, the M sound will always have the same effect, or the W sound will always have the same effect. These sounds can be used to get a different effect with a different combination of words, but they do emphasize the meaning of the word. So woman much missed. Apart from the rhythm, it's much stronger than if he said woman very missed, or lady, the lady I miss, or something like that. If he said the lady I miss, it wouldn't have the effect of woman much missed. Okay, it holds itself together through those repeated letters. So the point about this all the way through is not just that there is a technique called alliteration and that he uses that technique called alliteration, but it has an effect. It creates a strong feeling of how much he misses her. Woman much missed. It ties those three words together and makes the meaning stronger. So it's always the effect of the technique that we're interested in. We're not just interested in the technique. We're interested in what is the effect of the technique. And it emphasizes the fact that he misses her. Then you get repetition. Woman much missed, how you call to me, call to me. And again, it has a kind of effect here, especially because the poem is called The Voice, and we hear the voice, call to me, call to me. All right, it creates sort of like an echo effect. Calling him, firstly, repeating that she's calling again and again. You call to me, call to me. You do it again and again. And then, of course, in the third line, we get the one who was all to me, which is the rhyme, but it picks up the call to me, all to me, and gives another sense of a sort of echoing repetition. And the three-syllable rhyme that we get in lines 1 and 3. All right? Call to me, all to me, creating, in this case, creating an echo effect, but in other cases having a different kind of effect. Okay? It's not as simple as saying, oh, each time you see this technique, it always equals this effect. That's what makes your observations unique. You can always say about a poem, this poem has A, B rhyme scheme, or it has a dum-diddy, dactylic rhythm. You can say that about lots of poems. But talking about how the rhythm, or how the rhyme, or how the technique has its influence on the atmosphere of the poem, that's going to be unique to that particular poem. That's what we're interested in. Not a comment that could be true about lots of poems or lots of texts, but a comment that's just true about this particular text. Okay? All right, two more techniques. We've got rhythm. Woman much missed, how you call to me, call to me. Dum-dee-dee, 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 dum-dee-dee. And the first rhyme, we call it A. And then saying that now you are not as you were, the second rhyme B. When you had changed from the one who was all to me, back to A, call to me, all to me, but as at first when our day was fair. And I'm calling it B, but it's not, it's a little bit of an off-key B, isn't it? It's not, you know, were fur or were her. It's were fair, which is just close, but not exactly right. So the other thing to notice in the rhythm here, we've got a missing syllable. Instead of it being dum-diddy, 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 dum. In the second stanza, it's, in the second half of the first stanza, it's dum-diddy, 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 dum. Oh, all right. So he's kind of focusing attention around this point by changing the technique, by changing the rhythm. And he's also focusing attention at the end of this first stanza by having a half rhyme on the B. It's not a complete rhyme for were. Fair is a sort of half rhyme. So again, first thing is notice the pattern, but very often notice changes in the pattern, where the pattern doesn't quite work in this case. I mean, we could say Thomas Hardy wasn't a very good poet. He couldn't make dum-diddy-dum-diddy-dum-diddy-dum in the last line, so he just went dum-diddy-dum-diddy-dum-dee-dum, because he didn't know how to do it properly. But if we give him credit for being a good poet, then we say, no, he knew what he was doing. He did it purposely. And the same thing with the rhyme. It's not just a mistake. It's not that he couldn't think of a good rhyme. He wants to focus attention on fair. Why does he want to do that? He wants to change the atmosphere of his poem. So, emphasizing the word fair changes the rather negative feeling that we've had so far in the poem. The woman is missed, there's a feeling of absence. And there's also this kind of complicated timeline, saying that now you are not as you were when you had changed. It's a rather complicated timeline, isn't it? Complication is often a way of creating a negative feeling in poetry, especially as non-native speakers. You're going to notice this. When you understand it, you sort of think, oh, okay, it wasn't so difficult. But these complicated things, they do make you feel shinkai. But it's true for a native speaker as well. That native speakers feel saying that, wait a minute, now you are not as you were when you had changed from the one who was all to me. That's a bit weird. That's a kind of complicated situation. So we did pictures about it a few weeks ago, and I think you got the sense of what it means, but it takes a bit of thinking about. So the word fair is simple and easy, and it stands out in contrast to this rather complicated and negative atmosphere of this woman that he misses, and she's saying something rather difficult to understand. But as at first, when our day was fair, okay, a long time ago, things were okay. And he's focusing on the fair by changing the rhythm and having that half rhyme. It focuses attention. Okay? So, the use of those techniques, the rhythm and the half rhyme there, they signal the change in atmosphere. From now on, let's hear a little bit more about the fair. Let's hear about the good bit, the good stuff. Can it be you that I hear? So, before I move on to that, being technical about it, the repeated pattern, dum-diddy, 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 all right, each one of those is called a foot, and each line of this poem basically has 4 of those. Woman much missed, how you called to me, dum-diddy, 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 dum-diddy. So you've got 4 times, dum-diddy, 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 dum-diddy. Okay, it happens 4 times, basically. So that's the basic pattern, and in this case, the pattern of 1 strong and 2 weak is called a dactyl. If you want to talk about those techniques, that would be what the word you use. But I don't really care so much about whether you use the technical word. What matters to me is that you understand how that technique is being used to create the atmosphere of the poem. And at the end of the 2nd and 4th lines, you get a single strong, okay, dum-diddy, 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 dum. Stop, okay? So it creates a strong sense of structure. Woman, much missed how you called to me, saying that now you're not as you were. Okay, tell me how you were. When you had changed, okay, this is how she was. She'd changed from the one who was all to me, but as at first, dum-de-dum-de-dum. Okay, the same thing. When our day was fair. So I don't want to get into all of those technical things too much. What I want to emphasize is getting the effect of the technique and seeing how it connects with the tone and the sense of the poem. That's what I think is really important when we're looking at poetry. So the next stanza then, can it be you that I hear? Let me view you then, standing as when I drew near to the town where you would wait for me. Yes, as I knew you then, even to the original air blue gown. And in the same way as before, the same rhythm, dum-diddy, 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 dum-diddy. But it's got us, for example, the split. I don't know if I mentioned the split here. Let me just check. Can it be you that I hear? Let me view you then. The line is divided in the middle here. It's fairly straightforward. We're contrasting in the second stanza. We're looking at the happy past. Can it be you that I hear? Let me view you then. And the rhythm, because of that break in the middle of the line, which again is a technical name for that, that's called a caesura. And in this case, it creates a sense of expectancy. And it's kind of light and cheerful. Can it be you that I hear? Let me view you then, standing as when I drew near to the town where you would wait for me. Yes, as I knew you then. Yes, okay? All of these things creating expected. Let me see you, even to the original air blue gown. And again, extra syllables in this case. Even to the, okay, it's got extra syllables squeezed in there because it's almost like he's so excited. He's kind of gabbling. You know how people when they get excited, they start looking very quickly. Okay, so it's a little bit like that. He's so excited that he's squeezing extra syllables in, and he gets that sense of being excited through that. And then in the third stanza, it's the unhappy present. And again, the same rhythm, but now that rhythm somehow seems to drag. Or is it only the breeze? It's listlessness. Okay, the same rhythm, dum-diddy, 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 but it's dragging, it's heavy. The words themselves seem to pull the rhythm down and give it a heavy kind of feeling, a heaviness. So the same rhythm can be used to get different effects. The half rhyme of the last line is irregular in both stanzas. And in the first stanza, the crowded syllables, even to the original air blue gown, they suggest the poet's excitement. And in the second stanza, heard no more again, far or near. The missing syllables, heard no more again, far or near. It's like she's fading away, she's gone. And the cutting out of syllables there, the kind of shortening the line, there's something missing. Okay? The rhythm is sort of breaking down. And then, of course, at the end of the poem, the rhythm does break down completely. And it changes into something quite different. Thus I, faltering forward, leaves around me falling, wind oozing thin through the thorn from norward, and the woman calling. The dactylic rhythm is gone. The key word would be faltering. Very often you can find a word in the poem that actually reflects the technique. The whole technique is faltering. Thus I, faltering forward. The whole poem seems to be faltering. Okay? And he focuses attention on this faltering ending by changing the rhythm and also changing the rhyme scheme, which is now two-syllable rhymes, which he hasn't used so far. It's either been one or three, hasn't it? So far. Now it's two-syllable rhymes. We've got the forward, norward, and the falling, calling. So it reflects the faltering of the poem himself, the poet himself, as he's faltering through the countryside on what seems like a rather grey, unpleasant day, and also perhaps faltering towards his own death. And the breakdown of the rhythm, for me, that word faltering really kind of captures it. That's what the rhythm's doing. And he's emphasizing the whole idea of faltering through changing the rhythm. Okay, so that's the sort of thing that I'd expect us to talk about if we're talking about the technique in Hardy's poem. We've got the focus switching at the end here to the poet and marking the change by switching from the dactylic rhythm also into a different kind of rhyme scheme. Still A, B, but it's two-syllable rhymes. So he's kind of emphasizing the change there. So here we've got... Are you okay? Yeah? Shall we move? I'll just talk you through the techniques here a little bit. I think we've all got the idea that Margaret is crying for herself, but not consciously crying for herself. She thinks she's crying for the dead leaves, but the poet looks at her and thinks, no, really, you're crying because you know that if a leaf can die, then that means you can die. But you don't know that consciously, because you're only a little girl. So it starts off with Margaret. Are you grieving over Golden Grove, unleaving? Leaves like the things of man, you with your fresh thoughts care for, can you? So we've got these two-syllable rhymes. Remember, if a rhyme has 2 or 3 syllables, it's often called a feminine rhyme. And we've got the g, l, r sounds. Margaret, are you grieving over Golden Grove, unleaving? We've got those repeated sounds, almost sort of sounds like glug, 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 like honey being poured from a jar. Margaret, are you grieving over Golden Grove, unleaving? It's got a kind of glug, glug, glug sort of sound to it. That kind of, to me, maybe I'm imagining things too much, it reminds me of honey going glug, glug, glug. And the whole thing has a kind of honeyed, sentimental feel about it to me. The whole opening stanza leaves like the things of man, you with your fresh thoughts care for, can you? And I can see the little girl standing there, crying, with the leaves falling around her. But what sort of day would it be? What sort of weather? He doesn't say, but how would you imagine it? Partly through that word golden, I would see it as being one of those sunny autumn days. All right? I'd see it, a sort of sentimental picture of a little girl on a beautiful autumn afternoon crying because the leaves are falling from the trees. Very sentimental, typical Victorian sentimental picture. Ah, as the heart grows older, it will come to such sights colder. Again using the feminine rhyme, but notice how that changes. It will come to such sights colder by and by, nor spare a sigh, though worlds of one would leaf meal lie, and yet you will weep, and know why. So the gentle kind of sentimental atmosphere that you've got in those opening lines gets broken. The rhymes change. We don't have those feminine rhymes. They end with colder. And there's an internal rhyme, by and by, nor spare a sigh, though worlds of one would leaf meal lie. And then he pushes that rhyme again into the next line. And yet you will weep and know why. So he really goes for that I sound through those 3 lines. And it's, I. In fact, in Spanish, crying is I. Okay, and I think even in English, you've got that sense that I has a, it can be used in that way. It doesn't have to be. Like I say, no single technique has a fixed meaning. It's only inside a particular poem. But there is a switch here in technique from colder. After colder, the rhymes change. And we've got change in tone. And as I often notice in poems, the change of technique can very often be connected with one particular word in the poem. In the Hardy poem, it was the falter. Okay, that side faltering forwards, and the rhythm falters. So it copies. Here it's the colder. Ah, as the heart grows older, it will come to such sights colder, nor spare us by and by, nor spare us side, though worlds of one would leave me alive. The whole atmosphere here is colder. The change is initiated by that word colder, and after colder, the whole poem gets colder. It's not sentimental anymore. And the worlds of one wood leaf meal, again, it's got alliteration, but it contrasts. It's not a comfort, it's worlds of one wood leaf meal lie. The sounds. Well, can you imagine, great thick piles of leaves all sticking together over millions of acres, a huge number of them. You wouldn't cry if you saw them, right? However many there were, because you've grown up now. And grown-ups don't cry about things like that. But they do cry, yet you will weep and know why. So now, no matter, child, the name, sorrow's springs are the same. Nor mouth had, nor mind expressed what heart heard of, ghost guessed. And so we're staying with these one-syllable masculine rhymes, and Hardy gets to his real topic here. He doesn't want to say it directly because she's just a little girl. So now, no matter, child, the name. I won't sort of say what it is. We all got it. We all know he's talking about death. Sorrow's springs are the same. And again, there's the alliteration, sorrow's springs. There's also the fact that this sorrow's springs are the same. There's only two non-stressed syllables there. It's the shortest line in the whole poem. And in a way, it's what the poem is about. Sorrow's springs. The title of the poem is Spring and Fall, which of course in British English, spring is jumping up and falling is falling down, but spring is also, autumn is fall. Spring, the season, and autumn is fall. So spring and autumn. So sorrow's springs are the same. In this case, springs means like spring, the season. It means spring, something jumping up. Okay, sorrow jump comes out here and there, but its origin is all the same. And then a spring of water, and that's the strongest meaning of it here, I think. A spring, which is where does a river begin? It begins with a spring that comes out of the earth. Okay, in Japan, you've got hot springs, but the cold springs are the same. Rivers begin with springs. The origin. So sorrow's origins are the same. There's one basic origin for sorrow, and that, of course, is death. So we've got the sorrow's springs, nor mouth, nor mind. We've got the heart heard, the ghost guessed. It's all tying these words together to create a stronger atmosphere, all connected to the idea of something that's mysterious, that death, that the little girl herself doesn't consciously know about it. Her heart heard about it, her ghost, her spirit, guessed it, but she doesn't herself consciously know. It is the blight man was born for. It is Margaret you mourn for. And here he goes back to those feminine rhymes, doesn't he, that he had at the beginning. And we've got more alliteration here. It is the blight man was born for. It is Margaret you mourn for. It ties the two ideas together. The blight you were born for, and Margaret you mourn for. It connects those things very closely and neatly, so that you're crying for this terrible thing. The terrible thing is yourself, and that you're going to die. So he ties those ideas together through the sounds of the words. And as I say, he's gone back to the feminine rhyme, which takes us back to the beginning of the poem, and reminds us of his question at the beginning, his two questions. Are you really crying because the leaves are falling? Can a little girl cry about things like that? And he's now coming back after abandoning those feminine rhymes in the middle of the poem. He's coming back to them and answering his own question. So he uses the feminine rhyme to remind us of the beginning of the poem and take us back to those original questions. And this is the answer to those questions. No, you're not really crying for the leaves. You only think you're crying for the leaves. What you're really crying for is yourself and the fact that you are going to die. But you don't know that. Not consciously, because you're just a little girl. When you grow up, you will weep and know why. You won't cry for the leaves anymore. You'll cry for the fact that you're going to die, and you'll directly know that that's what's making you unhappy. So he says. It's a very beautiful little poem, or rather sad, I suppose. The theme is rather sad, but it's a very beautifully written little poem, and I think it's got a lot to tell us about the way that technique is used to create the effects. He's a real artist with words. Okay, so there you've got two poems to work with.